Hey guys, welcome to day 13 of Streak Daily Initiative, your daily dose for UPSC preparation. So today the topics that we had to do were related to your interstate relationships. So the very first topic here was state-center relationship, your interstate relationships and issues with respect to that particular relationship, and finally your emergency provisions. So let us look into the very first question for mains that you had to write down. So the question starts like, discuss the meaning of breakdown of constitutional machinery and what are the effects of its of this particular term, right? So this particular question is from your emergency provisions, and as soon as you read this particular term, your breakdown of constitutional machinery, this means we are talking about Article 356, the governor related provision. Remember, emergency in your states, how that can be brought in. So obviously in our introduction we are going to start with talking about Article 356, and then what we're going to do is we're going to define what the idea behind constitutional breakdown means. See, the constitution does not directly defines what is meant by constitutional breakdown, but there have been certain in the past there have been a lot of reasons given by the governor's report through which we can actually provide certain set of criterias, right, based upon which this particular provision has been used, and that will come in your body. Like, that is the first thing that you're going to talk about it. What all criterias are there based upon which this particular constitutional breakdown provision is used. So you can talk about elements like political elements like hung assembly, if the legislature has lost the confidence of the legislature, defection related, and also you can quote a lot of different examples from current affairs here, because recently we've seen a lot of provisions with respect to 356 are brought in because of, say, political breakdown. There can be corruption, related to corruption. If the law and order of the particular state has become very troublesome, that it can hamper the national machinery also, then those kind of ideas is something through which we can bring in our emergency in the state. Obviously, the national provisions in Article 352 are completely not applicable here, like aggression or armed rebellion is something not that is directly linked to this particular provisions. But if you link it to the idea of law and order, then there are certain derivation, but I think the law and order thing that we're talking about in Article 356 is much more wider here. And that is why, that is also one of the reasons that we've seen a lot of time this article being misused, because the broad aspect of use of this particular term has been an issue with respect to it. So what are the effects? Now that is, this effect portion is directly verbatim. You can pick up from your Lakshmikant, like what all presidential power come into play. He takes care of, now he takes over the executive working, also he controls the legislator. He can talk about which law should be applicable, which should not be applicable. So all those kind of details you can list down from your Lakshmikant here. And finally, see, we've laid down the criteria based upon which this particular article is used. Let's bring in more examples and talk about the politicization of this particular instrument, the constitutional breakdown. You can talk about the Arunachal Pradesh example, you can talk about the Goa, the Karnataka, the Maharashtra. So there are a lot of different states in which we've been seeing the breakdown of the constitutional machinery, the governor report being submitted. So all those recent examples you can bring in here and you can use here, I think. And finally, in your conclusion, again, a way forward where we talk about how this particular article should not be overused or misused, because ultimately we have to develop a prosperous center-state relationships, and excessive use of this particular article can actually degrade the relationship. So we have certain sense of recommendations with respect to this article from your second ARC as well. So you can talk about that angle here, or if you have other recommendations which you think would provide an efficient working of this particular article, you can bring in that also. And I think this concludes this particular answer. Let's move on to the next question. The next question is dealing with your federation part. There were two portions in this particular topic of the day. that is your center-state relationship as well as interstate relationship. So federation is actually from those two topics only. So very direct question, I think it is, if you would get this question in your examination, I think it would be considered one of the easy ones. So the question is, what are the essentials of a true federation? Analyze the nature of Indian federation. Okay, there are two questions, and you should understand that the first question is talking about federation as a concept, the larger idea about federation, and the second question is specifically talking about Indian federation. So this distinction is important because that will be part of your main answer. So in the introduction, we are going to define federation as a concept. So the basic idea behind federation, we're going to define it here. You can bring in certain examples like USA, etc. You can also quote certain thinkers, how they define the idea of federation, completely dependent upon you here. Then in our body, we're going to take care of the first portion where we're going to talk about the essential features. So draw a diagram, list those particular features and write a bit about them. So these essential features could be, say, dual government. You can talk about citizenship rights also. You can talk about your distribution of power between center and the state, the supremacy of courts, and the supremacy of constitution and the independence of judiciary. So all these ideas are very much important to your federation as a concept, and you can talk about that in the essential portion. Next, what you're going to do is draw a table, and all these essential features, you list them down and compare it to the idea of Indian federalism. So this will provide the proper, this second portion, analyze the nature of Indian federation. So this analysis will be based upon what are the essential features, and you're going to compare what is the nature of these essential features respectively in India, right? So usually we have dual citizenship, like in USA we have dual citizenship. But when you write in the table for Indian side, you're going to write that there is just one citizenship here. So this will provide, I think, nice innovative touch to your particular answer. And then the third portion is ultimately you're going to talk about what is the unique Indian federalism and also talk about the ideology behind it. That is also very important here. Like why do we have this unique idea of federalism and how it has been a good model for India up till now, right? So bring in that idea. I think, Indian model of federalism provides a lot of space for the various cultural, linguistic differences that is present in India. So I think that point you can also bring in this particular portion. And finally, what you're going to conclude is about your future of federalism, right? Like how the federalism in India now need to evolve with the changing needs of the society. Okay, so states are asking for more and more financial power. They are asking for more devolution of power so that they can make sure, they are the basic creators of economic development. We're talking about today not only cooperative federalism but also competitive federalism. So a lot of different ideas are cropping up with respect to federalism. The regional parties are becoming much more stronger. So all this idea, how do we move, how do we evolve the Indian concept further so that the new idea, the new phase of federalism in India can take care of the needs at the local level. So you can talk about that element also. If you want, I think you can make it a 3 structure also, like the local level also is something that is needed now. So that part can also come in your conclusion, and I think this is a complete structure here. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you were able to attempt these 2 questions. They were a bit easy. They were completely from your static portion. So I think it should be easy for you to attempt. Also, what you can do is, if you want further information with respect to mains program, you can look into the comment section or the basic description box, where a lot of courses link have been provided from Civilsdaily which are related to mains program. Thank you so much and all the best for your studies.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update from Civilsdaily.